I've taken time on this channel before to examine what I call the YouTube loop of anti-truth. Somewhere around the end of the Obama administration, the right wing tried to transition from one form of counterculture to another. So, after the 2012 election, the Tea Party basically had been in power long enough, and particularly by the 2014 midterms, that their movement had dissipated in terms of being anti-establishment, because they had become the establishment and they had been proven to be corrupt, that everything they ran on in terms of small government and stuff was just a crock of shit. When they got in office, they were just standard issue Republicans. This rebranding of counterculture as right-wing would be called the alternative right. My expectation at the time, having been a big fan of YouTube skeptics as an atheist, not for their feminism stuff, which had not. During the Obama administration, YouTube skeptics were not a banner anti-feminism, anti-social justice program block. If anything, if you would watch T.J. Kirk during most of the Obama administration, he was defending Obama from the Christian right and Fox News, and then something changed. The skeptics started to find common cause with the emerging alt-right. And to be fair, the alt-right in the beginning seemed to have some kind of variance in the extent to which they were a race nationalist movement. Even though the term had been coined by Richard Spencer, they were still, at the very beginning of the alt-right, there were still some, and I've mentioned that there's no difference between this Western chauvinism and ethno-nationalism. It's just a different brand of hatred, and a different person gets deported. But I will say that there was at least some gradiency that the skeptics could sort of flow with the new right and Trumpism and all that shit without having to own their right-wingness. It seemed like, you know, this anti-truth sphere created on YouTube, where the skeptics like Sargon and Armored Skeptic and T.J. Kirk, the Amazing Atheist, created a world where they could be left-wing and anti-progressive. And then the legitimate media, professional journalists, not YouTube screechers, screaming preachers, discovered this common cause and called it for what it is. I remember that a Swedish, it was either Swedish or Norwegian publication, talked about TJ as a collaborator of the alt-right for his right-wing opinions and his pro-Trump positions. Later on, Blair White and Milo Yiannopoulos were exposed and branded by the Evening Standards as being, part of the, the banner of the alt-right, and they just keep so outraged. Oh, how could a trans woman and a gay man be alt-right and all this stuff? How could we be the leader of this movement when we're blah, blah, blah? And then most recently, and Joe Bish from Vice called out Sargon of Akkad for being right-wing, and he lost his fucking mind. I will give respect to the other person that Joe Bish called out in Vice. At least Paul Joseph Watson owns that he's right-wing, and he's trying to, you gotta give, Paul Joseph Watson is a piece of shit, but he at least owns his political position. What makes Sargon and the classical liberals like Dave Rubin so difficult to debate is that they start from a position of extreme bad faith, which is to say, I'm not right-wing, I'm anti-progressive. Once you start once you start from I'm not even going to own my place on the political spectrum, and that's why they're obsessed. I think Lacey Green, who's a newly minted anti-liberal, anti-progressive, did the rite of passage for these people, which is to do this colored graph that shows where they are on the political spectrum, and it always turns out that when they take the test, it places them somewhere on the left, and then they just sort of keep on throwing that test, which is very easily manipulated. They keep throwing that test at you. Look, I'm left even though I support Trump. Look, I'm left even though I hate SJWs. Look, I'm left even though I hate women's rights. I hate the rights of non-binary people in the LGBT movement. I hate Black Lives Matter, but look, I'm still left. It is very easy now. It doesn't take any political capital now. It is a conservative position to be pro-gay marriage. That is not a liberal card. It is a conservative position to be in favor of smoking marijuana. That is a mainstream position. You're not revolting against the establishment by supporting medical marijuana. That's already made it up the chain. Gay marriage is legal in 50 states. Even being pro-choice is not particularly, I mean, the American right wing is not dying on the mountain of abortion anymore. Fox News is dying. And if anything, Fox News is dumping people like Bill O'Reilly and replacing them with people far to the right, like Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson. That motherfucker's name. Tucker Carlson is a far-right internet troll. He is literally like one chromosome away from being Richard Spencer. Like, his dog whistling is literally 1 decibel down from, burn niggers as his life philosophy. You know what I mean? Kill faggots as his life philosophy. Tucker Carlson, okay? This guy is a physical manifestation of Breitbart. Even though I'm not sure if he even worked there, but he's a physical manifestation of this new extreme super hatred right-wing movement that won't even name itself, own its own name. Rubin has brought up people like Tim Pool, who will talk about how they were punks growing. Gavin McInnes, I was a punk growing up, man. I was an anarchist, and these fucking SJWs stole liberalism. They stole liberalism from us. The left has always been and always will be progressive. And it is extremely difficult to claim the mantle of counterculture from the position of establishment, which is what the right wing is, which is what Dave Rubin and Gavin McInnes and all these people, they are fighting for the preservation and supremacy of the status quo. So when Mother Jones comes out and calls Dave Rubin for what he is, which is to say that he's part of the new right. And again, I'm going to give credit to people like Steven Crowder and Paul Joseph Watson and even Lauren Southern for claiming their right-wingness. It takes courage. Their ideas are garbage, cancer. But it takes real courage to actually stand on your principles and call them what they are, so at least you are arguing your position honestly with the other side. I even want to give credit to fucking That Guy T, and That Guy T proposes some pretty atrocious shit, but he owns his conservativeness, he owns his right-wing position. I think that even Bill Maher is sort of lost in this time warp where he thinks that what it took to be a liberal under George W. Bush still applies. We're past all that. You gotta keep pace. If you want to be part of the modern left, you can't live and die on first wave feminism. That wave is over. Those rights have been won. Because I've even heard some people talk about, like, I'm not an anti-feminist, I'm against third wave feminism. Oh well, I guess you're against existing feminism. There were people in the 1960s who were against the Civil Rights Act who tried to claim a liberal position by saying, oh, well, remember, I'm against slavery. That battle had been won in 1963-64 already. It wasn't a liberal position to be against owning black people as property. That wasn't the fight of the day. So if you're against Black Lives Matter, you're against the existing civil rights movement. You can't point to being for Martin Luther King and say that, my commitment to the civil rights movement ended in 1965. Oh well, I guess you're a conservative. They keep beckoning back to these old left positions. Progress is about the future. Get on the train or get off. I'm willing to give respect to anyone's positions. I'm willing to even give some kind of leeway to, I'm conservative on this issue, I'm progressive on this issue, etc., etc., etc. But for God's sake, get off the fucking fence.